What type of sack do I need and what size? Let's try and answer that for you. Now there's lots and lots of different sacks available to buy, again depending obviously on your particular pen. Now what we've got is first of all the standard latex sacks. They come in sizes from I believe around from size 10 up to 25. We've also got more specialized sacks. Now what we've got here is Parker 51 vacuumatic sacks, so they're a little bit more specialized. We've also got again 2 vacuumatic sacks there. We've also got again a little bit more specialized. We've got these this is for a Waterman Ink View fountain pen. We've also got sacks that, as opposed to the normal latex sacks, these are latex sacks but they're what we term as a thin walled sack. Now these are designed specifically for the likes of Schaefer PFMs and Schaefer snorkel fountain pens. So for them you will need what we term as a thin walled sack. And then as far as sort of sizes are concerned, just standard latex sacks. Obviously they come in numerous different sizes. We've got these sort of a thinner type sack, again a different size here, and then we've got a larger size. This specifically is a size 20 sack, and then again a little bit more specialized. We then come to the likes of the what we term as a necked sack. Now the reason being neck, you can see it tapers down to this neck at the end here, and again you've got all the different sizes. So these actually very much depend on the pen that you've actually got, which sack you will actually need for that specific pen. So once again we've got lots of different variation on sacks, again some more specialized, but what we're going to do here is just simply concentrate on a standard fountain pen, and what we're going to do is show you how to fit a sack for you as well. So in this particular case we're going to concentrate just on the simple latex sack. Now as I say, the latex sacks, they come in sizes from literally from a small size 10 all the way up to size 25. So they come in numerous different sizes. Now obviously what you'll need to know is what size of sack you need for your particular pen. Now what we're going to do here, let's just close this case here. We'll pop the case to one side. Now as far as the sack's concerned, which one do I need for my particular pen? If we bring this particular pen here, this is actually a Burnham fountain pen, and what you need to do obviously is, well, remove the section, the nib and the feed, clean out any remnants of the old sack inside the pen, clean off the, some people call it the peg, some call it the sack nipple. In this video we're going to term it as the peg. So clean off the peg here of any remnants of an old sack, and now you're ready to install a new sack. Now once again the question is, how do I know which one we need? So what you can do at this point, you can get a little ruler, you can measure across the peg there and measure the diameter of the peg. For some people who are, well, maybe a little bit lucky, they may have a set of calipers. Again, what you can actually do is get the caliper, measure across the peg there, and again that will give you the size of your sack. Last but not least, what you can actually buy available, we have this little tool here. Now let's just simply take it out of the bag there, and what you've got there, you can see, is this sack gauge. And as we said earlier, it goes from the very small size 10 all the way up to the large size 25. Now these are all standard sack sizes, and what you can do if you don't have your ruler, if you don't have any calipers, you can purchase one of these tools. They come very handy, and what you simply do is once you've cleaned the pen, you get the section and you put the section into one of the holes. Now we've got that one in number 20. That's a little bit loose, a little bit big. We've got it in the 19, again it's a little bit loose, and here we go, we've got it in the number 18. So what this indicates to us that what we need for this specific pen is a sack number 18. So you can see there it's got the number 18 and it fits nice and snugly onto that or into that hole. So what you can actually do is purchase one of these sack gauges. It'll make life a lot easier for you. You don't need to measure, you simply, as we've just simply done, is pop the section into one of the holes, and that will very simply indicate to you which size you actually need. So if we pop that to one side there, so as I said, in this particular case it's indicating that we need a size 18. So what I'll do is reach across once again into my little case, and here we have a number 18 sack. Now all these sacks, they come in a standard length, and they are actually a little bit longer than you will actually need. So what you'll need to do is, if we get our little board here just to help us cut the sack, so what we need to do is, again, assuming that we've cleaned everything is nice and clean and is ready to install our new sack. So first of all, if you place your sack into the barrel like so, and you'll see it goes all the way in, there's a little bit of excess to the end there which we don't need, so what we simply do is trim that excess off. Okay, so now you can see a little bit slightly over, but that doesn't matter. Let's get rid of that little piece there. Now to make the sack fit a little bit more snugly into the pen, what you need to do is place your pen on your board, on your wherever you're actually working, and put the section next to the barrel like so, and you'll see what I'm actually doing is actually aligning the section with the barrel. And now if I put the sack next to the section like so, and what I do now is actually just push it a little bit further to the left because we want to cut it slightly shorter, and at this point just simply cut where the peg is on the section. So again, a little bit difficult over the camera, but there we go, and there we go. So we throw the little bit away, and that's in effect how the sack will actually fit in this particular pen. So let's pop the barrel to one side. Now what we need to do is fit it onto the peg. So at this point we bring on our shellac. We'll undo that. What you'll also need is a sack spreader. Again, sack spreaders can be purchased online. This is the one that I actually use. So we pop this sack inside like so. We get our shellac and just cover the peg in shellac. So nice and smoothly. It doesn't need a great deal. Turn the peg as you're applying the shellac. Pop the cap back on the shellac. Pop that to one side, and let's fit the sack onto the peg. So what we need to do is pop it in like so, bring it over, pop it, push it in as far as it'll go towards the threaded section, and just give it a slight turn. So that's what we've done now. We've fitted the sack onto our section. Now at this point some people say, well, how long do I need to wait for that shellac to dry? Depending who you talk to, some people say 15 minutes, some people say half an hour. To be safe, if you're not in a hurry, leave that to dry for 1 hour, and that'll dry nicely within that hour. So what I'm going to do now is leave that, and what we'll do, we'll pop back in an hour's time. So after an hour, that should be nice and dry now and ready to be installed into the pen. So what we'll do, we'll remove my cutting board. Now one of the things that you may have noticed is that, one, we haven't got the nib or the feed installed, and secondly, you'll see that this is actually a threaded section. Now some pens that you may have are like this, i.e. they just simply have a friction fit section. So in this particular case, one I prepared earlier, I've already installed the nib and the feed, etc. I've applied some dusting powder to the sack, so this pen is ready to be assembled. So what we can do is simply pop the sack into the pen. Now this one is slightly loose, so what I need to do on this occasion is once again get the shellac and apply some shellac to the section that fits into the barrel. That'll be fine. Once again, we'll remove that and let's fit the section into the barrel like so. Just give it a small twirl, and once again we just simply leave that to dry. Again, for an hour will be fine, and then pop the cap and this pen is ready to be used. So in this case we've got a friction fit section. So if we pop back to this one, which is a screw fit, the installation is slightly different. As we said, it's now ready and dry, it's ready to be installed. So we get our dusting powder, just dab a little bit on my finger and apply the dusting powder to the sack like so. Okay, so that's ready to be installed. Now because this is a screw-in section, again at this point we've not put the nib or the feed in, so let's install the sack. First of all, place it as far as it'll go into the barrel, and then in this point what you need for this procedure, not only this pen but most pens that have a screw-in section, you will need a little dowel. So place the dowel inside like so. Now the reason being is that once we begin to screw the section back onto the barrel, we just give it a very gentle prod to make sure that there's no snagging of the sack inside. So let's screw that, give it a little prod, everything feels to be fine, and the dusting powder allows the sack to rotate smoothly inside without snagging onto the pressure bar. So all the way home we just give it one more prod, that is fine, everything feels fine inside. So we've now screwed the section onto the barrel. In some cases some people will apply a little bit of shellac onto the thread, so you can apply a small bead of shellac to the thread if you need to or if you want to. Well, there we go, that's just simply screwed on. So as I said, a slightly different procedure. So what we need to do now, and again this applies for most threaded sections. So we need to pop the nib onto the feed. Let's line it up first of all, like so. That looks fine there, and install the nib into the pen. Okay, that looks fine. Everything looks fine. It looks to be aligned. Pop it in a little bit further in, and there we have it. So that is how you install a new sac into your lever fill fountain pen. So we screw the cap back on, so that pen now is ready to write, and away you go. So I hope this has been helpful to you. That's how we fit a sac. We've also shown you how to measure the sac. We've also shown you just some of the basic differences in the sacs. So I hope that helps with your pen restoration.